Good afternoon, family. Once again, it's your DC dude. If you are already a subscriber to this channel, I want to welcome you back. However, if you are new to this channel, I recommend that you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you can stay in the know about where we're going to go. First of all, I want to wish everybody a happy Black History Month. As I promised in the last video, we're going to celebrate Black History Month by doing a number of videos about African Americans and their accomplishments. Now, in that DC dude fashion, the individuals that we highlight, their accomplishments relate to Washington, DC one way or the other. And the other thing that I thought would be fun is to do videos about individuals who are not very well known. I might mention their name and you never heard of them, right? So today, we're going to shine the light on these individuals because they did great things. And sometimes against all odds. So family, we find ourselves in the area of the Tidal Basin in southwest Washington, D.C. It is here where we will shine the light on an African-American individual, albeit not commonly known, yet lived an extraordinary life in his deeds and ultimate accomplishments. But before we proceed into a conversation about his life, we will first talk a little about the place where one of his tangible accomplishments manifested. So the Tidal Basin is most popularly known for its relation to an event that is probably hands down the largest event in Washington, D.C., drawing millions of people from all over the world here every spring. You guessed it, that event is the Cherry Blossom Festival. So every year, sometime between the end of March and early April, about 3,000 cherry trees or so, gifted to the United States from Japan as a token of friendship in 1912, bloom into this beautiful pink that blankets this area. I could do an entire video about the history and interesting facts about the cherry trees and all of the events during this time of year. But for now, let us continue to set the stage for the African American individual we're here to talk about today by talking a bit more about the Tidal Basin itself. Okay, so the need for the Tidal Basin arose out of a disastrous flood in 1881, which devastated the district so severely that much of the southern part of the city was accessible only by boat, flooding areas including parts of the National Mall, such as the Washington Monument and the White House Ellipse, even as far as the United States Capitol, about 2 miles or so away. I'm sure you'll agree that something had to be done. So not too long after that, the U.S. Corps of Engineers took action by dredging the Potomac River to create not only all the land we're driving on, where you can find the Thomas Jefferson, Lincoln, Dr. Martin Luther King, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and other memorials, but also this body of water we call the Tidal Basin was also put into place as a functioning reservoir that captures all the excess water during the high tide of the Potomac River. As a matter of fact, before being called the Tidal Basin, it was once called the Tidal Reservoir. Anyway, I talked more about the land dredging project on a video I did about Haynes Point last year. If you're interested, you can find a link in the description to that video. So if you ever tried to paddle boat around the Tidal Basin, you'll know it's pretty large. It's 107 acres. A decision was made to build a bridge to cross over it on Independence Avenue. Enter Archibald Alphonso Alexander, who was an African-American architect and engineer. Archibald Alexander was born the eldest of 9 children on May 14, 1888 to Price and Mary Hamilton Alexander in Ottumwa, Iowa. Archibald Alexander's career as an engineer and architect began when he enrolled into the State University of Iowa, known today as the University of Iowa, where he studied towards his degree in civil engineering. His college career started off rocky from the start because when he arrived on campus, an advisor told him, quote, "A Negro could not hope to succeed as an engineer," end quote. Even the Dean of Engineering lacked encouragement when he said, with all honesty, he had never heard of a Negro engineer. Well, this must not have discouraged Archie to the point of quitting, because he kept pushing forward. Throughout college, he worked multiple jobs to support himself and pay his college tuition. And he broke another barrier by being the second African American to play football for the University of Iowa. At 6'2", he played as a starting tackle for 3 seasons, earning the nickname of Alexander the Great. He was also in the Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity. With all this on his plate, Archie Alexander would earn his bachelor's degree in 1912 in civil engineering. This is when the words of his campus advisor would come back to haunt him, because no one wanted to hire an African American as an engineer. So Archie had to accept work as a laborman. He did this for 2 years until he made a decision to start his own engineering business. Meanwhile, he began to study bridge design in London, England in 1921. Over time, he established an engineering partnership with a guy named Morris Repass. The two knew each other from both engineering classes and the football team at University of Iowa. Together, they built a business that focused on building bridges with clients across the United States. So now, back to Washington, D.C. and the Tidal Basin. So the engineering firm of Alexander and Repass would land a contract to design the Tidal Basin and the seawall in the 1940s. The Tidal Basin Bridge and seawall cost $1 million to build, and the construction project employed over 160 workers. The Alexander and Repass engineering firm will also do a couple more projects in the Washington, D.C. area, one of which is the design of the Whitehurst Freeway. If you ever spent any time on M Street trying to get through Georgetown traffic, you would really appreciate the Whitehurst Freeway, how you can just get from one side to the other with relative ease. And also their firm contributed to the design of the Baltimore-Washington Parkway. I guess we can't hold that against them. But arguably, the most famous of the firm's projects was the design of the Moulton Airfield in Tuskegee, Alabama, which was home to the famous Tuskegee Airmen. Alexander died of a heart attack in 1958 in Des Moines, Iowa. He was survived by his wife of 45 years, Audra Lindsay Alexander. Upon the death of his wife, Audra Lindsay Alexander in 1973, the University of Iowa, Tuskegee Institute, and Howard University received funds for engineering scholarships as stipulated in Alexander's will. Wow. So as many times as I crossed this bridge, I never put any thought into the story behind its design and its development and all the barriers that this gentleman broke along the way. And I do hope this video brought you value as well, family. I look forward to reading your comments. And as always, family, you never know where we're going to end up next. So if you want to ride, just click on subscribe.